So this is a good example of that color scheme. So we have that kind of blue-green of the meadow. Okay, so what I was thinking is kind of what you said with the mask element, where it kind of branches out, and then I think that I'm going to fleck a lot of the gold paint on this side of your eye. One more wash of color clash with anything, and I'm going to make a streak. Oh, hi, are you here for the face painting appointment? Alright, excellent. Have a seat, just so I can log everything in. What's your name? Okay. And it says here that you're due for a Twilight Meadow face painting appointment. Did I read that correctly? Okay, that's exciting. And did you specify where you wanted it on your face? Okay. So, kind of over the eyes and like the nose area. So like the mask shape. Okay. And did you bring any reference pictures? No? Okay, yeah, that's fine. We can figure that out as we go. Alright, and I think that we're all set for now. So, have a seat over there, and I'll be with you in a little bit. This is very exciting for me. I've never really done a Twilight Meadow inspired face paint look before. Yeah. I'm assuming that you really like Twilight. Yeah, honestly, me too. So you said that in your application that you didn't really have reference pictures, right? Okay. So before we go into like sketching and like planning everything out, I wanted to go over some pictures that I found of the meadow, and just to see what kind of vibe you want to go for, and like the first step of the planning process. So I have the first picture here. This is kind of like a lot more of a well-known, iconic color scheme. You can kind of see that it has blue undertones or overtones, whatever filter that they used to make the movie. Because if you notice, like everything in Twilight looks super washed out for some reason. So this is a good example of that color scheme. So we have that kind of blue-green of the meadow, and did you want to have the humans on you? Okay, no. So you just kind of wanted like a Twilight inspired? Okay. Yeah, I can definitely do that. So yeah, we have the more gloomier color scheme over here. You can see them all like gazing at each other with like love-struck eyes as that iconic Twilight scene just flows in the background and like the camera is spinning. And yeah, this will be like a lot more of the classic you'd expect from a Twilight meadow. The next one is, I think, a lot more happier. It's not as green-blue, it's more like a yellow-green, if you know what I mean. So it's a lot sunnier, there's a lot more flowers in it as well. They're still gazing at each other, but I think that it's more of like that classic meadow scene with those wildflowers, of course. And yeah, I think it would still be recognizable as the Twilight scene, even, you know, from far away. It's just, I think this picture isn't as recognizable. It's still recognizable, but I think that the other color scheme has more of that blue tint over it, which makes it more of the Twilight aesthetic. I think that's just my personal opinion, but this would still be a really good choice if you think that the yellow-green suits your skin tone more, because it's a lot brighter, has a lot more life and like vibrancy than the other one. The other two that I picked aren't, I don't think they're part of the Twilight meadow, but they do look like the Twilight meadow. So as you can see, it definitely does have Twilight vibes. So there's those purple wildflowers with that blue-green grass. Something that's kind of unique about it is that there's like a ray of sunlight coming out from the trees. I think that would be a pretty cool element to put into the face paint because, like, you know, the whole secret with Edward's skin and stuff. But I do think that it would be nice to contrast the warm sky and like a warm ray of light with more of like a cooler color scheme for the meadow. I think the only downside is that there's too many flowers, but you know, that's easily fixed. I can definitely edit those out, or not edit, but I can exclude them in the final piece. And then the next one is a lot more of that happy color scheme. So if you can see here, there's the atmospheric perspective right over here, and there's also like the wildflowers, and of course the evergreen trees and stuff. I think that this would be really cool if you wanted to incorporate trees on like your eyelids and stuff. It's a lot less of the meadow though, which is kind of like the one drawback of this piece, is that it's not like immediately recognizable as Twilight inspired, mostly just because it's not like a full meadow, if you know what I mean. But I definitely think that we could include like elements of Twilight scenery by making it a little bit more blue-green as opposed to like super bright shafts of sunlight. I think also a cool detail would be like this atmospheric perspective over here. Like I can totally include that on your forehead or like on your eyelid, stuff like that. That would be just a nice kind of depth thing, or depth detail that would be nice to include. But those were the 4 reference pictures that I had. So you have 4 choices, or bachelor number 1, the classic Twilight scene. You can practically hear the music coming from it. and then a little bit of a less classic but more happier, brighter scene with them staring at each other, and with a lot more wildflowers too if you're into that wildflower look. And then there's also this gorgeous scene over here, less Twilight but also has a lot of the elements like blue-green grass, those wildflowers, and then like the ray of light. And then here is the final choice with a lot more mountainy elements and a lot more brighter, a little bit less Twilight inspired, but that can be easily fixed. So out of those, which one did you like the best? Okay. I see, okay. Yeah, no, I can totally do that. So combination of the first and the third? Alright. Yeah, no, that sounds good. So now that we have that out of the way, I'm going to go find my pencil. Okay. So with this pencil, I'm just going to kind of map out where the design might go. If you don't like the direction that it's going in, then totally feel free to tell me. But other than that, can I touch you? Thank you. Okay, so what I was thinking is kind of what you said with the mask element, where it kind of branches out from your eye sockets, like right over here. So the most intense color will be around your eyes and maybe carry that across the nose, like a little sun-kissed detail, but it's grass-kissed. I don't know. So that, and also I was thinking that we could kind of put a ray of light across this side of your eye, kind of diagonal, so it kind of looks a little bit like this over here. Yeah, and then we could definitely like incorporate the flower elements. So I was thinking that one side could be the light and one side could be the wildflowers. So there would be like a big petal, like multiple big petals across the very outer corner of your eye. So just a little bit like this. Yeah. And then we can definitely put more tiny flowers around, like your entire face. It's almost like freckles, but flowers, so I'll just give you like flower freckles. And then keep in mind that the green is not going to be like harshly around your eyes, it's going to be diffused. So what I mean by that is, like, do you know the Korean lip tint trend? So it's where like you concentrate the most intense color like in the middle of your lips and then extend the color outward very subtly and softly, and it can end up both making your lips look bigger and also make it more natural. It's not going to look natural because there's going to be green on your eyes, but it is going to make the illusion of just bigger eyes, but also a very soft, blended look, kind of like a very well blended canvas. So I think I'm going to be mixing a lot of different washes and a lot of different shades, but it's all gonna like look very well blended in the end because I'm going to be working in layers. I think also we're going to do some textured grass detail around the nose just over here and like over here. And like light feathery strokes. Yeah. And then I think that would be the majority of it. It is pretty simple because it's only like inspired by the Twilight Meadow scene. Yeah. I mean, okay, I would be very glad to draw the Bella and Edward scene on you with Bella and Edward on your face. But I am glad that you didn't want me to do that because that would take very, very long. So it is a relatively simple design, but we're going to work with a lot of layers, so some patience is involved. Did you want any changes to that design? Oh, that's a really good idea, actually. Okay, yeah. So you want like kind of like gold flecks? Yeah, I think that would look really good, actually. Because if you think about it, when like a ray of sunlight just kind of like goes across your eye, you usually see like a lot of like dust particles on there, but it's not like in a dirty way, it's just you see it. But I always think that that looks really romantic and pretty for some reason. Yeah, so in addition to your flower freckles, you will also have gold speck freckles. Gold speckle freckles. Gold speckle freckles, okay. Yeah, I think that that's a really solid design choice. So just to make sure that you're okay with everything. So you wanted on this side a flower design on this eye with a lot of petals and flower design elements. And then on this side you wanted kind of like a light shaft around your eye or across from your eye. And then I think that I'm going to fleck a lot of the gold paint on this side of your eye. And then on this side, I'm going to concentrate a lot of the flower freckles, but both of them will be evenly dispersed across your nose, don't worry. The whole point of me doing different elements to both sides of your eyes is because I don't want your face to look too unbalanced. Yeah, okay then. I think that we're good to go on to the face painting phase. Okay, so I'm going to get my supplies. So these are water-based paints. I usually prefer water-based just because they wash off easier. Okay, don't mind the mess. I promise it's still a good palette. Okay, so now I have my brushes. So I think I'm going to get the largest brush first. Okay. So I'm just going to do the base color now. So I'm going to use this green with this blue, and I'm going to put this very roughly around the area that I want that grass color to be. I have to work quickly because I don't really want the paint to dry on me while I'm blending. Can you close your eyes for me? Yeah. I'm just going to be going over your eyes. Okay. You're free to open them now. I'm just gonna go over the bridge of your nose. And then I'm going to be going over it with more of that color just to kind of build that up more. Okay, one more wash of color before I go to your eye sockets. That sounded a little bit more sinister than I expected. I just meant going over with paint. I'm just kind of slowly building that color up. I don't want it to get too gloopy. Okay, I'm gonna have you close your eyes for this segment because I'm going to go in with a dark blue green. Okay, so I'm just going to roughly put that over your eyelids and then under. Okay, I'm gonna go in with the other eye, or go into the other eye. Gonna go in with another layer of that dark color. Okay, I'm gonna bring that color a little bit over your nose as well, just to kind of connect them together. Okay, so that whole base color is done. I'm just going to buff everything out with this big fluffy brush. It's going to soften everything out and blend everything together. I think that we're going to move on to your other eye. And I'm going to go in with a light wash of this purple and green. And kind of blob that on your outer eye. Or like the outer corner of your eye. Okay. Okay. And then I'm going to go in with more purple, but like making those, the outline of those freckles, those flower freckles. Alright, and then I think I'm going to go in with more of a detail brush. Yeah, I can work on the layers pretty fast because because the layers dry fast. Okay. I'm gonna go in with this dark blue. Okay, and then I'm going to just delicately outline the petals. Okay, just going to shade with a little bit of the dark blue and kind of go between the petals. Okay, I think I'm going to try to make, what's it called? Light reflections of the grass onto the petal. Okay, with some green and blue. Just gonna put it on like the edges of the petal. And I'm going to try to make more reflections of the light onto the petals as well. Lost my train of thought there. Yeah, because like if you think about it, the light shaft, or like the light beam, would kind of like reflect onto the flower petals. So I'm going to put it on the edges where the light I think would hit. Try to go for like a very transparent effect. So I'm going in with like a lot of layers, thin washes of paint. Okay, and I'm going to make the tiny little veins of the flowers as well. Not that much, but just like the suggestion of it. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with a little bit more detail on this side with a lighter transition shade. Okay, and then I'm just going to let that all dry. Okay, I think that's good. I'm going to go in with a little bit more detail with the grass. I'm gonna shade it with this angular brush with a darker blue and green, and then I'm just going to go underneath the petals. And then I'm going to put like the suggestion of grass with like these feathery lines. Just kind of contour like the sides of your nose a tiny bit. I'm going to go in with the suggestion of little petals with the purple. Your little flower freckles. Flower freckles. Flower freckles. Concentrating on this side of your cheek. I'm going to go over it with more green blue just to blur everything out, not make everything as harsh. All right. Okay. Let's see. Let me see you from this. Okay, I think maybe we need a little bit more detail in the light beam over here. I'm going to try my best to make those little reflex. So I'm going to make just a couple rainbow reflex. First going in with a red, just kind of lightly washing it over. It's going to be like on your cheek. And then just going over, making an orange. There's not really an orange in this palette, so I have to make it. Okay, I'm gonna go in with a yellow. And then a blue. And then a purple. Alright, excellent. I'm going to put a little bit of a wash of white. Just go kind of around it and over it. Alright. Okay, I'm just going to tap that in. And I think that now it's time for the spraying paint. Okay, I'm gonna get the gold paint. Hold on. And then I'm going to spray it on your face. Close your eyes. I'm going to concentrate it on this eye. more over here. Alright. Now, let's just let it dry. Okay, and I think that this is it. Yeah, we have all the elements, the light, the delicate flowers, your little flower freckles, and your little light freckles. And then the entire thing is very softly blended. Hold on. Let me just do a detail blending thing. Just going to go over all of it. Just to make sure that everything is super blended, no harsh edges on the edges. I think that's it. Yeah. Do you want a mirror? Alright, yeah, sit tight. Let me go get